How much would $100,000 change your life? A ton. Could pay off all debt and put a very nice down payment on a house. Would make the mortgage manageable. Kinda what happened for me. My wife received an inheritance of $100,000 invested. Half was made available immediately, which we've used for the down payment on a house we can now purchase. The other half is accessible in 5 years, but we'll probably just let it sit there for a while. Immediately? Not much at all. I'd pay off all my debt, take a chunk out of the house I'm about to sign on. The monthly savings, however, would really allow me to change my life though. A lot would change on paper, but the real effects wouldn't be apparent for several years. I think $100,000 being given to me would create some kind of mental crisis where I'm like, well duck, if 100 grand cannot change my lifestyle, then what is it going to take? Am I just a work slave forever? It's not even enough for a 10% down payment in my hometown, current city. I'd get it and it'd be gone and would do nothing for me to be able to afford the monthly payments. I'd need at least $250,000. And there's no way I'd even want to move out on my own, since that's $2,500 per month just for a one-bedroom apartment. I'd be better off hoarding the $100,000 and saving more money for a few more years. Would definitely help me pay off college. Insanely. I'm 19 and I'd be able to pay for university, pay for my car, and help my parents who are on the streets right now get back on their feet, and get my siblings out of foster care. It would pay off my husband's student loans and some medical bills that he has left, pay off my dental bill, pay off our credit cards, and then maybe we could get some upkeep, fix-it stuff done around the house. The rest would go into savings. We'd have a good amount of money freed up each month, and that would also go into savings. So, really, $100,000 would change my life by finally giving me a decent savings account that could be used in the future to hopefully avoid debt. It would be a very nice thing to have. It would let me retire, semi-retire substantially earlier. I mean, I'd say I'd spend some and go on vacation, but my vacations are typically camping somewhere cool and then hiking, so it's pretty frugal as far as vacations go. I'd like to think that I could retire a little earlier if I had an extra 100 grand thrown at me, though. Yeah, I would put it all in long-term investments and then be able to spend more disposable income now or retire earlier. 100K invested now would be worth about $4 million in 40 years, so in theory you could decide to never save anything else for retirement and be fine. It would increase my retirement savings, but wouldn't change my day-to-day life. 30 years from now, that $100,000 could grow to a cool $1 million though. Only need a 8% rate of return. Very doable. 5 to 6 years of rent while I get my PhD sounds pretty fantastic. I'd be able to afford my own apartment instead of living with 3 people. I'd be able to focus more on building my life instead of just trying to survive every day. I'd be able to donate to charities and less fortunate people in my area. Overall, it would make my life less stressful and make me feel like less of a failure. Dude, that's almost 7 years worth of insulin. Can you imagine not having to wonder how you were going to manage your life-threatening disease for 7, well technically 6.9, years? God. I could actually put money toward my future rather than trying desperately to stay alive in the present. If the current rate of inflation continues, and if I am lucky enough to live until 75, I will have spent over $7 million on insulin alone, not including other absurdly expensive diabetic supplies, like test strips, that are absolutely necessary for my survival. Just for some context, each test strip, without insurance, runs you around $1.50–$75 for a 50-pack of strips. And as someone who leads an active lifestyle and is insulin sensitive, I need to check my blood sugar roughly 6 to 8 times a day. More if I'm sick or an unforeseen event occurs that affects my blood glucose levels. It's ducking criminal what my country is allowing to happen to type 1 diabetics like myself. Massively. I could pay off all of my debt and most of my mortgage. My wife could choose to stop working if she wanted to, and I could get a much less physically demanding job. That amount of money would be huge for us. It would remove some stress, that's for sure. Ask me when I sell my house for twice what I paid in a couple months. 1. 10K in Bitcoin. 2. 10K in equity fund. 3. 70K on a 1-bed apartment. 4. 10K on renovating apartment. 5. Wait 5 to 10 years. 6. Profit. That's more money than I have spent the last 10 years. So, life-altering to say the least. I'd be debt-free and I'd be able to get my teeth fully fixed. Would actually own a home. No other way it happens. ITT. People listing the most touching stories and reasons due to the tiny chance that the person asking, or someone else reading the thread, might be generous and rich enough to hand out $100,000. I'd have $100,230 right now. I would move out of my parents' basement. I'm transgender, and I'd be able to start the process of medically transitioning by going to see a gender specialist in order to start HRT. After that, which would most likely take a year or more, I'd be able to start looking into surgery options. I can't do any of this right now because I live with my family, and even if I was out, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that they'd be okay with their insurance covering any of my transitioning, so $100,000 would allow me to just pay for it all out of pocket. Pay off the small debt I have, would probably buy a new car, but something practical like a Subaru. Rest I'd use to pay off my parents' and brother's debt. Well, the debt that isn't mortgages. $100,000 isn't enough for that. Anything left I'd invest in something like an index fund. I'd be able to afford another round of IVF to try and add another IVF miracle to our family. Have one IVF child, 4-year-old, and unfortunately 2 further rounds resulted in miscarriages each time, and we depleted our savings. It would change everything, and not even for me, for my parents. They're in their 70s, live in a really old home in need of serious upgrades, and I can't afford to pay for them. I'd love to either upgrade their house or buy them a new one so they can retire comfortably. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this.